Justin, Maura, thank you for coming in today. I really appreciate it. So I've just been referred to you from Ben Rogers, who's a past client of mine. He had a great experience. I hope you had the same. So just kind of fill me in. I know you guys have had a conversation with Abby. Just want to kind of touch on financing before we kind of dive into the actual how we buy a house.
Well, this whole time I thought you and Ben actually played for the Pittsburgh Pirates, so I'm a little disappointed.
Well, it was. Didn't quite make it. We're in the majors. It was just 12-year-olds.
Go ahead, darling. Tell them what we.
This is exactly what it would look like too.
Okay, Kevin. So Ben told us how awesome you are, and we're really excited to work with you. First of all, so thanks so much. Abby, awesome. He's more of the finance guy, so I'm gonna leave him talk about the price point, like probably bump it up a little bit, you know what I mean? But do you remember what Abby said? We're doing what, 5% down?
Yep.
5% down, and yes, and I think with the interest rates that gives us kind of like our monthly payment and our cash to close where we want to be. So I think we feel pretty good about that, right?
Yes.
And we're looking for 5% at 450, right? 450.
I want to try to stay under that.
All right, let's see where we end
Maybe
up.
like 475. I've been looking on Zillow, and I feel like 475 is kind of where I want to be.
We'll talk about Zillow here in a few minutes,
Okay.
but it's going to be a big no-no word from us, just a little foreshadowing. So just real quick on the financing aspects, do you understand the difference between down payment and closing costs?
No.
Okay. So in that scenario, we're talking about we'll make numbers real easy. Say we're buying a $100,000 house, we're putting down 5%, $5,000. You also have your closing costs associated with that, which is kind of the fees for kind of getting your loan. Okay, that's how you obtain one. You have to pay your closing costs. They fund everything there, and together those two numbers add up to your cash to close. So it's not just 5%. It's 5%. Usually about 2.5% to 3% of the purchase price, which you can expect for closing costs. So
That was going to be my next question.
Yep.
How much should I expect for closing costs?
well, Abby is going to be your kind of financial captain on all of this, but I'm enough to be dangerous, but I'll just kind of factor in 5% where we end up and just tack on about 2.5% to 3% onto that, and that would be a pretty good ballpark. But Abby's going to be with us the entire time, much like me. She works nights, evenings, weekends, kind of on call. This is a very fast business. We want to make sure that we are on top of everything and ready to go for it. So, but think of Abby as your financial captain. Think of me as your kind of your house captain. Okay, sound good?
Okay.
Cool.
Awesome. All right, we have a packet here for you today. Some of this stuff may sound simple and boring and dumb, but we want to go over it, make sure we're on the same page, we have expectations set properly. So, just kind of diving in here, feel free to stop me as we go along. This packet is for you to keep and reference back to, or you can throw it away when you leave here. It doesn't really matter to me, but I want to make sure we go over all this information. Okay? All right. Yes, we can pull this up. That way people can see. So, here we go. Well, we'll look at this one here. We got this one for you. You can take it on the way out. So, just real quick, a little table of contents. We're just going to go over some common misconceptions held by home buyers. We're talking about the real estate roster, kind of who's involved in the transaction, the purchasing pathway, and the steps kind of 1 through 10 of how we buy a house. We're going to touch base on the loan process. This should be a refresher from your conversation with Abby, and then we're going to talk about how we schedule showings and actually go out and look at houses and write a contract. Okay. And then lastly, we do a lot of fun events throughout the year. We work completely by referral. You're not going to see my face on a billboard or anything like that. We kind of put our heads down and go to work for you and go to running the business of your friends, family, coworkers. So please keep in mind if everybody's looking to make a move. All right, sound good?
Yeah.
All right, let's dive in here. So these are misconceptions, so they're going to be false. All right, it will cost you money to get pre-qualified. How much did Abby charge you guys? Perfect, we're right on track. So, all right, a realtor will represent you in the purchase of a single family home. That is also false. If y'all are interested, I know you guys are mostly interested in single family, but if you're interested in condos, townhouses, lots, land, new construction, so that we can help people with that as well. Okay? Next, when buying with the Rogers Long Team, we can only purchase hometown realty listings. So, obviously, I work for the Rogers Long Team. We are under the branch of Hometown Realty. That does not mean we're just limited to just hometown houses. So if you see a Joiner, a Low and Foster, any of the other shops around town, we get you in and out of those houses as well. Okay. One caveat with that is going to be for sale by owners. They are very difficult. So oftentimes they don't really know how the process works. They're usually overpriced. So if you ever come across a sale by owner, please reach out to me, take a picture of the house, send me the address along with the phone number that's on the sign, and I'll reach out and kind of see what the deal is and make sure it's worth our time. All right?
Okay, that sounds great. Thanks, Kevin.
Awesome. Perfect. Number 4, you will select the perfect home. A little bit of sarcasm in that one. Their perfect house really isn't out there. Okay. We want to try to check off as many boxes for you as possible, but just know that we're not going to find one that checks off every single one. Okay, some of these are more important than others, and it's ultimately up to you guys to decide what makes sense for you. Okay. Lastly, you must pay your realtor when you close on your purchase. When you buy a home, you do not pay me anything. Okay, we write in there, we get paid what's offered by the listing firm in MLS. We don't charge any admin fees or anything like that. Essentially, we are free to you. When you go to sell, that's when you have to pay the commissions. So essentially, when you hire a listing agent, they are marketing the property for you, and you're helping bring a buyer. They can find a buyer to bring the home. So they're paying for those commissions. We are completely free on the also.
Cool.
Sound good?
We love free things.
Free is good. Got it. All right. Next page here. This is really just who's involved in the transaction. So up top here is going to be myself. I'm your RFP realtor. Page 2. Page 3. Financial flipping through. One more. Awesome. Okay, so I'm going to be your realtor. So I'll be the one getting you in and out of houses. Like I said, I'm kind of your house captain. Anything goes like that, come through me. All right. Once we go under contract, Justin Clift, who's our transaction coordinator, he will get involved. He's referred to as the king of our team, so he makes things happen and sets all the rules for us to follow. But he is the one who coordinates with all the other people in the transaction, make sure that we are staying up to date, all the paperwork getting where it's supposed to be, and make sure that everything is just running smoothly. Okay. Next is going to be your lending team. So this is going to be Abby and her associates over at Town First. You're going to have both lenders, there's going to be processors, underwriters. Like I said, Abby is going to be the captain of that ship. So think of her as anything financial, that is who you're going to go through. Okay, they're going to help you get the loans for the property and be able to close on time. Next is going to be your settlement team. We use MG Law for all of our closings. It's an actual attorney. I like using an actual attorney rather than a closing company because you have an attorney essentially for a retainer throughout the entire process. It's usually about $100 more to have the attorney. To me, it is the best money you're going to spend. Hopefully, we don't have anything that arises, but in the rare case that it does, it's good to have him in our back pocket. Closing companies are going to really be more of the people who are just kind of getting the paperwork through. They can't really legally advise you on anything. They're just kind of there to push it. Okay.
What could happen?
We've had encroachments with fences. We've had HOA disputes. There's been discrepancies of, hey, there's a bad inspection. We need to kind of find a way potentially out of the contract. So, we usually don't like to have to involve the attorney, but there are rare cases where things do pop up. It's really a case by case basis. So, answer your question?
Yes. Thank you.
So, hopefully we'll have to talk to Joe so we'll keep across the table. So, cool. All right. Next is going to be your inspector. Do you guys have an inspector? Anybody plan on having an inspect the house?
I mean, like your dad's pretty handy.
Yes, the inspector.
He can, but we can't really ask for anything. You've got to have a licensed inspector. It's going to be the one who's going to provide the report to us, and we'll talk about the inspection back in a little bit. Just know that we do have a couple inspectors that are great. A lot of times it is a very quick who's available. So we have about 2 or 3 that we do trust, and it just kind of really depends on the schedule a lot of times, so who we get out there the fastest, because there are time frames associated with all this, and sometimes they are backed up. But so if you guys do not have one, if we have people we trust and use regularly, they'll do a great job for you.
Kind of on that note, Justin's dad is really awesome, and he helps like fix stuff and things like that. Can he come check out the houses with us?
He can, and if he's going to be involved in this process, we do want him to come along kind of to every showing.
Okay.
We don't want to do it because things do move so fast. We don't want to say, God, we love this house, but I want Dad to come see it.
Gotcha.
Okay, so we have to reschedule it in that time period. There can be somebody else that comes in and puts forward a great offer. So if he's going to be involved, we want him to kind of vet the house before we put a contract on it, make sure he is attending the showings with us. Okay, because we may not have time to come back in. Okay, so that makes you all feel comfortable. I work with parents all the time, not a problem at all.
Cool, thanks.
All right, awesome. Next is going to be your homeowner's insurance. This is if you're getting a loan, you got to have homeowner's insurance on the property. We have great connections for this. We prefer Matt Tigner over at Riverland Insurers a bunch. So if you guys need a contact for that, we'll get you in contact with him. And then lastly, we have the other team. And I want to make a note here. This is not our opponent. When I say the other team, I mean the listing side. That's our listing agent. This is not a fight. Okay, this is you guys want to buy the house. The seller wants to sell the house. Our job as realtors is to make sure we make the process smooth, simple, and easy for you, and make sure everyone's protected on that. But this is not a knockdown, not a drag out fight with them. Okay, so just kind of keep that in the back of your mind. Bad goals, similar to you. All right. Any questions on that? Perfect. All right. Next page here, we have our purchasing pathway. So, like I said, step number 1 here is getting pre-qualified. So thank you guys for already doing that. We have our parameters kind of set in the pricing stuff. Next is gonna be initial appointment, which we're in right now. We're gonna finish up the rest of this packet, make sure you're educated before you walk out of here and you set up on your search, okay? Once we finish this, we do have the green light, we're not contingent upon selling any houses, anything like that. So we are able to go out and look at houses. We'll talk about how we schedule those shortly, but once we find one that you like, we'll move on to the next step here and before. We'll write the offer, negotiate the terms, get the contract ratified. Now, I want to make a note here, a ratification means a written agreement between buyer and seller. It means all I's dotted, all T's crossed, all parties involved, okay? Until we have that, it is not an official document, it's not ratified, meaning that somebody else can still come in, submit an offer, we get kicked to the curb, all right? A lot of stuff is time sensitive, so please be conscious of that when we are planning on making offers. Don't wait until the next morning to sign the contract. I had one happen 2 years ago where the husband waited until 7:30 a.m. when I sent him the contract at 7:30 p.m. to sign off on it. They accepted the contract at 7:05 the next morning. We never got our contract in. We missed out on it. The wife was very irritated, so make sure you sign the paperwork, Dusty.
No problem.
Yeah.
Wow, so it really moves that quickly.
It can, yes. So,
Okay, cool.
And this is going to sound very salesy, but if you find a house, chances are someone else probably loves it too, for the same reasons that you do.
Yeah.
So just kind of keep that in mind. There's not a lot of inventory out there on it. So we'll kind of dive into that here a little bit later as far as the search goes. But once we get the contract ratified, we have 3 spots here which are bolded and underlined under 4, 6, and 7. This is when money is going to be due up front prior to closing. Okay. Once we go under contract, you have your earnest money deposit, which is referred to as an EMD. That is a check at the Hometown Realty that does get cash and held in our escrow department until we go to closing. That does get applied to your down payment at closing. Okay. If we're ever at the risk for losing our deposit during this transaction, which the contract is written to protect the buyer, so you shouldn't have to worry about this. But there are certain scenarios that pop up these days with waived inspections and appraisals and everything else that's kind of going on, where you could be at risk depending on what we put in the contract terms. We'll go over all that stuff. I will always let you know if you're ever at risk.
Okay, so do we pay that like when we write the offer, or?
So you can give me the check when you want to. I mean, if we're getting at the house and they want to put it in, you can handwrite a check to me there, or we can write the contract that you'll pay within 2 or 3 days and get it turned into the office.
Okay.
Okay?
That's
So,
helpful.
like I said, if we don't get the contract, then we can either hold on to it, shred it, or just keep it for when the next one pops up. Okay? Next, once you're under contract, you turn in your earnest money deposit, you'll officially apply for your loan with Abby. This is when you're kind of going to sign all of your paperwork, all your forms. She's going to give you a list of everything you're going to need to kind of apply for your loan. The more organized you are with that, the simpler and easier this process is. So just please be conscious of that. If you're kind of chasing your tail, getting her a couple papers one day, a couple papers the next day, the process really can't get started going. So make sure you are clean and prepared once we go under contract. All right. Once we kind of get through loan application, that's the first 7 days, we have the property inspection. And I have in here between 0 and 14 days, because there's a chance that that is a blank we fill in the contract as far as our time period goes. Usually it's around 10 days, but with make offer more competitive, we may try to shrink that time frame up on there. So we'll kind of talk through that on each scenario as a case by case basis. All right. You do pay the inspector the day of the inspection. This is a true third-party cost. You're paying him to do the inspection, provide you the report, and he kind of exits from there. Okay, so just making sure kind of giving you a health check for the house. All right, that is not including the FMV it's given. Okay, make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. All right, next we have the appraisal. You guys know what an appraisal is?
Kind of.
No. Appraisal is essentially going to be the bank making sure that we're paying the proper value for the house.
Okay.
Okay. So they're going to have an appraiser who goes out to the house. He is going to have a copy of the contract, so he knows what you paid for it, and he's really going to verify that the house, in the bank's eyes, is worth what we're paying for. Okay. Awesome. And that is charged up front. They usually take a credit card when you go to apply for your loan. It's usually about $500 on that. It's just charged up front. But that is listed out in your closing costs that you get. Okay. Awesome. Once we get through those are really the big hurdles. The next we have down here is preparing for closing. That's where we're going to be in contact with you as things pop up. We're going to keep updates with you, make sure that you're scheduling utilities to be turned on as we close to the closing. Last thing we want you to do is move in and have any water or power. So we definitely want to make sure that we stay on top of all that. Make sure the lender's getting all the paperwork they need, sellers done everything, they've signed the deed, all those deals there to make sure we're able to go close on time. Okay. Lastly, our final walkthrough, 3 business days prior to closing, we're going to get the closing disclosure. That's going to come over from the attorney and the lender. it's gonna have a breakdown of all your costs, and it's gonna really, it's pretty much like your loan estimate that Abby gave you. Pretty much the same thing, it's just here's all the final numbers, you have to sign, review that, usually just email it to you, accept it, review it first, make sure everything is right, accept it, and then you're able to go close, 3 days after that, okay? And we'll be, in contact throughout this entire process. We'll do our final walkthrough, of the property, sometimes the day of closing, if we had a bunch of repairs need to be made, sometimes we'll do that a few days ahead of time, just to make sure that things are done properly. If anything was not done properly, we have time to go back and have the seller get those adjusted as needed, okay? This is also, we take our picture out in front of the house, the sold sign. So, this is more towards ladies, but, if you have anything you want to wear or makeup, anything like that, you're
I'll
welcome
pick it
to do that. That is, please do, so gotta dress like a punk. Alright, next, closing time. This one will actually go in and sign the papers, with Joe, the attorney over at MT Law. Alright, this is about a 45 or so minute process. You're signing everything you've already, submitted for your loan application, and you're re-signing that stuff again, and sometimes again and again. So it's, kind of a lot of redundant paperwork, but you have to sign everything in order to get the keys. This is also when the rest of your money is going to be due, okay? That needs to be either, wired, to the attorney firm, or, if it's less than $25,000, you're able to do a cashier's check. It cannot be a personal check. Okay, don't go with the checkbook. On that one, it's not going to be.
We
You
do
be
have
certified
a
funds.
checkbook though, right?
I gotta look for it.
Okay.
So, if not, we can also handle deposits, things like that, through the online portal as well.
Good.
I'm a paper guy, I prefer paper, but, if you don't have that ability, we can make things work.
Okay.
Okay, awesome. This whole process, once we go under contract on the house, if we sit down and get the keys, expect about 30 to 45 days normally. Sometimes that can get extended out closer to 60, but usually no longer than that. Okay? Any questions on that? There's a ton of time frames in here. This is my job to keep you accountable for this. I'll make sure that we are trying to get things done as soon as possible. We have 10 days for the inspection. I want to get it knocked out on day 2. We don't want to be waiting against any deadlines or like that. We want to be prepped and ready to go to make it simple and smooth. All right?
That sounds great.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Glad to do that. All right, the don't do it page. This is my favorite page for Abby. These are things that can really mess up or throw a wrench into the loan process. So these are things we want to try to avoid during this. First, we don't want to be changing our banks or moving our money around too much. We don't go change from Wells Fargo to Chase during the middle of this process. So we want to be able to track and see consistency in your bank statements and your pay stubs and all that. So we want to make sure we're on top of that. We don't want to be depositing cash. Are you guys drug dealers?
Anymore.
No comment.
Good, keep it clean, all right? So we don't want to deposit cash. If this is a check from grandma for your birthday, that's completely fine, something along those lines. What they want to see is money coming in, they can't verify where it came from, okay? Next, we don't want to close any credit card accounts. And we also kind of have in here, we don't want to apply for new credit of any kind. Anytime that we're getting our credit pulled, that can affect your credit score, which can affect everything on Abby's end, which can affect your rate and whatnot. So we want to make sure that we are kind of minding our P's and Q's on this. That means hold off on buying or getting a Home Depot credit card when you go to buy your appliances. From a lending standpoint, we have here, don't make any major purchases. Hold off on furniture, cars, anything that's kind of out of the norm. We want to hold off on that until we actually close, because they're going to be looking at your bank statements, everything up until the day of closing.
So, quick question on that, because we're getting married. We're so
That's it.
excited. We're so excited. But we're kind of having a big wedding, so like major purchases, like what does that mean? Because like our vendors are kind of expensive.
Thank you very much, Justin.
I think we go from 450 to 425 maybe?
Stop it.
Down here at the bottom, we have not sure. So anything, and so we talk about Abby being your financial captain, we want to run all this stuff by her, and maybe simpler something where you're having parents pay for it. I know that your father's a very, very wealthy man. He loves
Yes.
spending money
does.
on stuff like flowers.
Yeah.
And
They
it's
smell-
great.
they
But
smell
still, maybe
so
put that on Dad, or just run it by Abby first, and just make sure we're not screwing anything up. We
Okay.
want to think, house is kind of the most, obviously wedding's a pretty big day, but you're gonna be living in the house for more than one day, so we will maybe make this more of a priority.
Okay.
Good luck.
We don't want to fail to disclose any financial or credit information to Abby and her team. That's not saying anything we think you're going to lie to her. We just want to make sure that if you have any accounts, get them out in the open. The last thing we want to have happen is they find, hey, what's this account with, money going out or money coming in at the last second. So if you have any secret accounts before you get married, please disclose them to each other and also to Abby. All right, and lastly during this, we don't be going to change your job, all right?
So Justin is up for promotion. I'm so excited for him. He's gonna be so great.
What do you do again, Justin?
I work at Markel.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Had a book open. Pretty cool. It's a great company.
It's fun. We have a good time over there.
Yeah.
But so like when he gets his promotion, is that like changing his job? Like it is changing his
Yeah,
job.
it's the same industry. I mean,
Okay.
that's a good thing. It means he's making more money, which maybe he can now buy the $475,000 house.
Got a career at acting.
All right. Any more questions on what not to do as far as financial stuff? Save all your money. All right, loan process. Pre-approvals, which you've already taken care of, that's kind of getting all your initial information taken to Abby. She ran it through, make sure everything looks good to go. Next step will be, once we go to contract, we're going to officially apply for the loan. Like we have talked about, be organized, ready to go for that, okay? Processor is one who's going to go through and make sure that we have everything we need. Underwriter is going to go through and make sure you're actually able to kind of repay the loan. We throw the appraisal in here, that is part of the process as well. They're going to, like I said, go out there and verify the house is worth what we're paying for it. And then lastly, we can send it to the closing department to coordinate with the process of attorneys to make sure we get everything down to the final penny, prorated, and then that's when they'll give you that closing disclosure 3 business days prior to closing.
Sounds great.
Makes sense.
All right. Big takeaway here is be organized. Okay, so it'll make your life much, much easier. All right. Next page. Oh, sorry. Next 2 pages. How we schedule showings. All right. We're going to get your searches up here in a few minutes. We're going to have a link to what we call One Home. It's kind of a portal for houses. This is going to be real live information that is sent to you. The second house hits the market, you get an email about it, as long as it's your criteria. You'll see here in red, we have turn off Zillow, Trulia, Realtor.com, all your third-party sites. They all pull directly from what I'm getting you set you up on. So the last thing we want to do, those sites drive me bonkers. I've had people reach out and say, hey, I want to go see 123 Maple Street. I try to find 123 Maple Street, and it's in Texas, but it maps in Virginia. So we want to consider also estimates. They are not very accurate. They're all over the place.
Really?
Weird. Oh yeah.
That's wild.
You know, the founder of Zillow actually sold his house for I think it was 22% below his estimate. Yeah. So I don't like Zillow. But
Wow.
big takeaway on this, you guys, is we want to make sure we're giving you real accurate information. All right, we do not want to be looking out there, and so also if you see something that's not on your search, it's on Zillow or Trulia, it's probably because it didn't fit the criteria that's showing up on your search. So it's going to be customized directly to you. We want to eliminate all the trash, all the things that don't match what you're looking for. That way you don't have to sift through it all. Okay, we're going to do all kinds of sifting through your search for yourself here today. Okay. All right. We actually got to look at houses. For you to, when you set up on your search, you're going to have hopefully 25 to 35 sort of matches in that general ballpark. That new stuff comes on every day. It's taken off, depending on if it goes under contract or not. So you want to be on top of that. You're going to start off with, if you have 25 matches, I want you to go through all 25 matches on your search, just on the computer. Okay. Based off of that, what you like, what you don't like, hopefully get that narrowed down closer to 10. Now I want you to take a lap around. I want you to go drive by a bunch of the properties to make sure that you like the neighborhoods, locations, make sure you're comfortable with how close you are to shopping. Or is this too secluded? Is my neighbor's too close? These are things we want to find out. You can use the aerial view on the map. That's great. Nothing beats driving around. Okay. From there, we want to try to get narrowed down to your top 3 or 4. We don't like to show any more than 3 or 4 houses at a time. Anything more than that becomes just information overload. You are going 1,000 miles a minute, don't know which house matches up with which kitchen, which one had the bad backyard, which one had a tree hanging over the house. There's just too much to kind of think and take in looking at that many houses. We really want to kind of go in with a max of 3. If your top 3, when you go back out a second time, we can do that. We're also at the mercy of the seller's schedule at times. Sometimes we're not available for. There's other people who are going to see the houses. If you have a day during the week, you're going to be off from work, you may want to have some houses you want to check out, let me know ahead of time. I'll block that off for you. Like I said, lockboxes work from 8 o'clock in the morning to 8 o'clock at night. So those are kind of our hours, 7 days a week. As much notice as possible is preferred. Sometimes you send me a house that hit the market 10 minutes ago. Seller may not be 100% ready, or they have to coordinate with the dogs or babysitter or anything like that. So just let me know. But if there's something that pops up right away, still reach out and let me know. Because sometimes we can get in there before everybody else does, which I'm a giant fan of. That just means less competition if we're kind of overburdened somewhere. Okay, make sense?
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. drive around as much as possible, and we want to continue kind of narrowing down our search. If you kind of have some matches in a certain area, and you're like, I don't really love this area, let me know. We can go there and cut that off. Now we're just kind of condensing our search to make sure we're finding that right spot. Okay. All right. Any other questions on how we really set this up?
So is there like a thing on the port or the website that you set us up on where we just like press the button and it like we can schedule the thing or?
I'm gonna have you directly reach out to me.
Okay.
So I am best usually with phone call and text. I'm not a great emailer. I'll let you guys know that now.
Same.
Yeah. So I get down some emails that I can't sift them all. So, but and I also do whenever I'm with you or with any other clients, my phone is always in my pocket. I give you my full undivided attention. You have some phone out here today. I'll do the same when I'm with you. Just know that I don't get back to you, in 5 minutes. I may be with somebody helping them out with the same thing, and so I'll make sure everything's synced over.
Okay. That's so nice.
Yeah, of course. Try to do.
Thanks.
Awesome. Yeah, and we'll just do a simple, like I said, text message works best. MLS number is the easiest way for me to pull them up on my end. Or if you screenshot the listing, send it to me, I can pull it up that way too. So, try to avoid sending me the actual address. All street names are spelled weird. So you're gonna spell it wrong because it's spelled wrong on the sign most likely. If not for me or me before an I, it's always a little messed up. But MLS number is gonna be the most easiest, accurate way for me to pull it. Okay. Awesome. All right. Now we get to more of the fun stuff here. Nitty gritty. Over the home inspection. We have a couple things in here I want to touch on. For inspection, we're looking for defects, not cosmetic flaws. Sorry, it's all on my phone. Should be on somewhere. There we go. All right. Defects. It means dysfunctional, not working properly. Okay. Just because something is old, so if you have a 20-year-old HVAC, but it's blowing out cold air, can't really ask them to do anything about it. Okay, it's functioning the way it's supposed to be. If that thing's leaking all over the place and if we want the same air that's coming in the system, then we have an issue. We can ask for something like that. But just because something's old and antiquated doesn't mean we can ask them to take care of it. Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. For defects, we want to make sure that they are kind of the big ticket items. All right, we're not going to be asking for nickel and dime stuff. If you can go to do your bed's handy, correct? If he's handy, then I'd rather ask for closing costs instead of having them make some repairs. Right? Or what we do there is say, hey, my dad can take care of that, but I'm really concerned about the roof leak where we got a bunch of mold in the crawl space. I'll let you know right now, there's going to be mold in the crawl space. All right, don't freak out about it. I know you see it on HGTV, they're ripping out walls, all this stuff. That's really not how it happens. We're in Central Virginia. As you noticed from this week, it is 98 degrees. It's miserable. And then next week it's going to be like 75. So hot, cold, that has fluctuations in temperature. The condensation sometimes built up in the crawl space, so don't be surprised when you see mold and mildew like stuff. This is pretty simple to take care of. It's just not to prep you up on it. All right. Other things, roof, HVAC, crawl space touched on, windows, siding. Those are all kind of the bigger ones we want to really make sure. If your hot water heater is 20 years old, that's going to be kind of least of, it's not a gigantic expense in the grand scheme of things. On that, we want to make sure that the kind of the bones of the house, I like in a used house to kind of a used car. All right, when that thing is dense and leaks, we want to make sure all the main functions are working properly and make sure you can drive safely and all protected. Make sense?
Yeah.
All right. Next page here, we got a couple of a little bit further detail about some common contract verbiage that we have and experiencing in today's market. I just want to touch base with you on that. So, like I said earlier, every situation is a little bit different. Everything's a case-by-case basis, but these are some terms that we're going to prep you on that we may have to kind of come into play when we are writing offers. All right. On price, escalation clause. Say we have 5 offers on the property. It's listed at $400,000. You guys say you're willing to go up to $450,000, but we don't know what the other offers are. All right. The agent's not going to tell me about it. I'm going to do as much digging as I can to make sure we can just nudge just a little bit. But the escalation clause actually helps out a little bit there. So what that says is we'll pay $2,000 or $2,500 more than the next highest offer up to a certain amount. So if the next offer comes in at $425 and we say we pay $2,000 higher than the next highest offer, now you're buying a house for $427. You don't have to go all the way up to $450.
Makes so much sense.
So it kind of protects you a little bit, puts a cap on it. And then if someone pays more than you, then guess what? We move on to the next one. It's not the end of the world. It's worth more to somebody else than it was to you.
Yeah.
Okay. Earnest money deposit. This used to be kind of general rule of thumb was about $1,000. Now you're expected more kind of 1% of the purchase price. Sometimes even more than that, just makes you look a little bit stronger purchaser, so you get a little more skin in the game, okay?
Yeah, okay.
Alright, inspection. This is kind of the big one, and this is the giant separator between kind of what wins offers and what doesn't win offers these days, especially in a competitive situation. The strongest thing that we can do as a buyer is to waive the inspection completely. I am not a giant fan of that by any means. I wanna make sure that you're protected going into the house, but just know that people will waive inspections, and to a seller, if they don't have to deal with the inspection at all, that's pretty enticing, and they'll be more likely to go with that offer than one we have where we can ask for, loose door out and everything. So, we kind of have these ranked as far as what's going to be the strongest, so, what's going to be more of a regular inspection, okay? First of all, like we said, waive, that means we're not having any inspection, we're not going back in the house, we're not verifying anything until we really go back to the final one, okay? The seller, that's incredible.
We are not doing that.
Mhm.
Well, my dad knows a lot about houses, so he can go
Yes.
through and.
Sure.
And I've been through enough home inspections at this point where I try to go through the house and I try to, make sure that we're not putting offers on houses that have giant defects. We're trying to find as much information as possible. What are the ages of the systems? How old's the roof? How old's the HVAC? Hot water heater? If they need upgrades, if they encapsulate the crawl space. We want to try to find out some of that stuff ahead of time. That's what my job is for you, just to make sure we have all the information that we make a good informed decision. Okay? So. Alright, next one is going to be inspection for informational purposes only. This is essentially saying you can have the inspection, but you can't ask for anything. And if you decide you want to walk away, you're leaving the seller your deposit. Okay, so we talked about earlier with your earnest money deposit, a lot of people if you're at risk. This is one of the times when you are at risk of losing it. Say we have a $2,500 deposit and there was $5,000 for the stuff wrong at the house. Alright, are you gonna give up that $2,500 to just get to the seller and walk away? Or are you gonna say, hey, I'm gonna take the house that needs $5,000 worth of work, which you can probably do a lot cheaper with that too. So doesn't always cost that much. So the inspector's gonna give you estimates on there. They're not always 100% the most accurate thing. Sometimes they're gonna tell you it's $100 for the bad light bulb. Light bulb can cost $100, and hopefully between the two, you guys are screwing it.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
I need to stop under that.
Alright, line item minimum. This is going to be, one, we're not gonna ask for any nickel and dime stuff, saying, hey, we're still gonna have a regular inspection. We're not gonna ask for any repairs or anything that's estimated about $500 or less, or $1,000 or less, or $2,000 or less. Just trying to, the higher up you put that number, the stronger you are as a seller. Okay? That just kind of avoids the light bulbs out, loose doorknobs, there's gonna, you got the dings, dents, and leaks. Those are things you can take care of.
Right.
Alright, you wanna make sure the big stuff is, good to go. Lastly, down here we have the as-is addendum. I like this for buyers. Sellers don't love it. Main reason being, you have 10 days to get any and all inspections on the property you want to, and you decide yes or no, do I want to move forward or not. Alright? One little thing on here too, if we're looking at a house that has well and septic, that is going to be an inspection that's typically on the seller side, that you're going to have to pay for as part of this. Alright, we do need to kind of coordinate, on this to make sure we get the, septic company out there in time to do all these tests. This is a 10-day, inspection. So, so if you decide to walk away, you get your deposit back, move on down the road, and go find the next house.
Nice.
Okay. Next, we talk about the appraisal a little bit, kind of similar to inspection. Appraisal is also kind of a big item when it comes to contracts. If you were to waive the appraisal completely, meaning that it doesn't really matter what the appraised value comes in at, you're paying whatever the purchase price is. We talked about earlier, say we're buying one for $425 and the appraisal comes in at $400, that's a $25,000 difference. We're gonna first go to the seller and come down to the $400. They may say no, but at contract you may say, hey, I'm willing to pay $5,000 more than the appraised value to make our contract look better. In which case, the sellers have to agree to this, but you're buying it for $405 instead of coming all the way down to the $400 where the appraisal came in. And that's gotta be out of pocket. That cannot be wrapped into your loan. That is just kind of additional funds you gotta bring in. Okay? We'll run all through this stuff with Abby to make sure that you guys have kind of the cash ready to go in order to do this before we kind of do everything on paper for an offer. Okay? Alright, appraisal gap is what we just kind of talked about, saying, hey, they pay $5,000 more, and that's all still negotiation. Okay? But they're kind of saying, hey, we're willing to pay $5,000 above up front if there is an appraisal issue. A lot of times you don't really see appraisal issues even when it goes way up. But we'll kind of, we'll run comps for you before we actually write the offer to kind of see whether everything gets sold or it makes sense and make sure we're really not at risk of putting the appraisal together. Okay? Other points of negotiation here, we have fireplace, chimney, flues, garages, sheds, convey as is. people don't really use their fireplaces, a lot of times they're saying, we haven't touched it in 20 years, we're not going to fix it, there's anything wrong with it. Also, inspectors typically don't inspect the fireplace, that's usually a separate inspection, so it's something you guys are, do you guys care about fireplaces at all or not, or wood burning gas, you know,
I don't really care.
more for looks?
Yeah, we can put some candles in there, make it cute or something.
Perfect, love that. Next on here is seller concessions, that's where we're saying, hey, instead of you guys making repairs, we'll take $2,500 and we'll take care of them ourselves. Big fan of that, people like your dad, a lot of stuff might not add up to be $2,500, but now we can get it done, taken care of, essentially that is a closing cost, so your closing costs were $6,000 and we got, $2,000 from the seller for some repairs, then now you only have $4,000 in closing costs left, which is less money to bring to the table. Okay? If there's an HOA, you'll have 3 days to review the HOA packet and make sure there's nothing in there that prevents you from moving forward on your house. That is sort of a get out of jail free card as well. On there, so you have those 3 days to review it, anything in there, you're able to get out of contract as well. Okay? Next, contingencies, we don't really have any. With you guys being first time home buyers, not anything to sell, we touch base on well and septic inspections as well as termite inspection. Those are all going to be seller responsibilities unless we're using it as is again. Okay? And lastly on here we have the rent back. Some sellers may need to stay in the house after closing so they can go buy their next house. This is usually capped out at about 60 days. Also negotiation between them, and sometimes we're offering this to them for free, let them stay in the house for the first month on there to allow them to either move or secure the next property. Okay? If sometimes we're flexible we are, since you guys are currently living with mom and dad before the wedding. We have a little bit of extra time, if need be, we can be flexible if we need to adjust that, close date. End of the day, if we need to wait an extra 15 or 30 or 45 days, the most important thing is getting the house. Okay? All that makes sense? Any questions on that page?
Yeah, I heard that, I had a friend that waived their 3 days, with the HOA to be more competitive. Can you do that now?
You can now, the situation's different. I mean, I try to, we don't know when the HOA doctor coming in. Sometimes they're coming in day one, sometimes they're already attached to the listing. Other times, we don't get them for 3 or 4 weeks, okay? You can waive the HOA period now. So that's kind of up to you on that. I said it is kind of a get out of jail free card. So we had an inspection for information purposes only, and there's a little bit more stuff on there than you truly wanted. And you weren't really ready to back away from the contract just yet. You do have the ability to say, hey, we don't like the fact that you can't put up a 14-foot fence in the neighborhood, or I can have a 120-pound dog in there, whatever it may be. You can kind of take that a little bit, give them a little justification on what you say you don't agree with all the HOA rules. Okay? And that's when you deposit that, but it's similar case-by-case basis. It's really up to you. All right? Any other questions on this page?
Pretty good.
All right. Almost done. 3 responsibilities as clients of mine. One is don't stress out. That may sound a little cliche like that. If you ever feel overwhelmed, too stressed out, reach out, give me a call, let's talk through this. We double as psychologists, we double as advisors, financial, anything you need, we are here for in your back pocket. So we want to make this a fun, enjoyable process on here, which kind of leads us to number 2, is make great decisions. I'm going to give you as much information as possible to help you make those good, informed decisions, but at the end of the day, it's your call. I'm not going to be living with you guys after you move into the house, so this is your choice. Make sure you're comfortable with it. I'm going to give you, as I said, as much information as possible to help you out with that. All right? Lastly, is refer us to your friends and family. So do everything by referral, so please keep me in mind. I said my job is to do a good job for you, because earning the business of your friends, family, coworkers. So if you guys know of anybody that's thinking of making a move in 2024, I'd love to talk to them very early. Sometimes this process lasts. Buying a house for a year or two. We want to get prepped and ready to go. Same thing on the selling side. I think about selling next year, the more prepped and prepared we are, the simpler and easier it is. Okay? And then we do a bunch of fun client creation events. I'm not sure what you guys got going on tomorrow afternoon, but we're doing our annual RLT Flying Squirrels game out at the Diamond.
You love this. That's so fun.
Yeah, we have the first 100 beers paid for by Rock Creek Innovations. The gates open at 5 o'clock, so get there early for a free cold one. And then after that, they're on you. But coming out, enjoy the game, love to have you. So, awesome. And then that is it. We have some business partners back here. If you guys need connections, anything, please reach out, let me know. In our line of work, we come across people from, that wear white collars, blue collars, and no collars. So if you need a connection to somebody, we can probably get a few phone calls, get you in touch with the good reputable person. Great.
That sounds great. Thanks, Kevin.
Cool. Well, now that we're done with this, so this is for you to keep. Hold on to that. And now we are going to dive into our search. And this was the other page. All right, so we're gonna go, this is MLS here, so this is gonna have our kind of giant breakdown and how we are able to really refine our search. So we're gonna start with houses that are technically coming soon. That means they're gonna be coming on the market within the next 3 weeks on that. And then we have houses that are gonna be active. Okay, there's no point with houses that are under contract. That's gonna be the ones that are listed as pending. If it's under contract, we cannot go see it. We cannot go write a contract on it. It's kind of, we're too late for that. All right, sound good? All right, next here, where are we on price?
475.
Alright, let's do it.
Nice.
That's
Way
it, right?
easier than I expected.
That's good. So, all right, so we have 475 or less on here right now. Minimum number of bedrooms and bathrooms.
Probably like 5'3". Like we want kids pretty quick, so.
We'll take a look at that. So we'll do 5 or more, and then bathrooms. You said 3. Is 2.5 okay? Or do you need to have 3 full baths? Meaning there's an actual shower and bathroom too.
At 2.5 probably.
Yeah, I think 2.5.
2.5.
One there. Any sort of square footage requirements?
No, I do. Okay, no.
All right. Location. Where do we want it to be? I know you just mentioned kids. Are schools important to you?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
We like the Hanover area.
But like, what schools are good?
Legally, I'm not allowed to talk about schools. With you have to do all your own research, fair housing thing. So I kind of defer to that. The best thing to do is reach out to friends, families, things like that, and the schools you want to be in, and kind of get a first-hand recommendation for them. Or you can use some online resources, but talking back to people who's best. You'll see on our search there's a middle school in here that's rated 0.4 out of 10. And that's in Henrico County, which has award-winning schools. So just keep in mind online, a lot of pissed off people who are just there complaining. So talk, get word of mouth from actual people who have sent their kids there. Okay, but we can refine this by elementary schools, middle schools, high schools. I just can't tell you what's good, bad on there. But yeah, you guys have any particular places you want to
Hanover
be?
area, right?
Yeah, Hanover. I've heard Hanover High School is really great, but I don't know a ton other than that. So can we maybe like start it kind of broad and then
We'll just,
I'll
I
do
know
some
I'll talk about
research.
schools,
Can we-
but
can we-
Hanover is pretty good. That's where I went. Produced me, so it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Alright, so Hanover, here, this at the high schools listed here.
Yeah, but like I
Hanover.
don't know if we're like set on just Hanover.
We
Can
can
we?
expand in all ways if we need to kind of draw it back
Oh,
in.
so we can make
We can.
adjustments.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Well, it doesn't look like they have
Got
any
no
houses.
Yeah, right now we
Yeah.
have 0 matches.
Well, maybe
may
we
need to make a few adjustments.
let's expand it. Let's just do all of Hanover. Can we do all of Hanover? Can we like draw lines or something on the
Yeah,
map?
we can draw lines on a map, we can do by school district, we can do it number one, which way kind of works best. Hanover's a very large county, it takes over an hour to get from end to end.
Let's do Hanover. Let's just do all of Hanover and see what we get. Can we do that?
Yep. So
But I want to be
then
probably
all
like 20
Hanover.
minutes to the city.
Well, that's gonna really limit you. From the city of, Beaver
Got no
Columbus.
matches.
Yeah.
Yeah, we take a look at the map here, to see our 0 matches.
I mean, we could probably do like 3 bedrooms if we need to. 3 or 4. 3 from the
Let's
office.
see if we have anything with pool. 7, alright.
Wow.
So, and just real quick to show you guys, when I go to houses that are currently under contract, just take a look at that bottom number, we go from 7 to 31, alright? Another, quick thing to look at here, this right-hand column is gonna be days on market. So you notice all these ones here which are, pending. Please look at the right-hand column. This is how fast things move. Okay, so this is how many days they have been on the market before they accepted a contract. Okay, so things do move fast. Once again, emphasizing when you find the house you like, reach out to me right away. All right. Let's take these ones back out for right now. Just before taking them back out, just map wise, is this kind of what's too far out on here? I know you mentioned being 20 minutes to the city. It's definitely not going to be here or
Yeah,
here.
let's cut those out. I don't want to do.
Okay. What
do
about
here.
where it says like 33 right here? Is that too far?
How far?
Yeah.
Wait, like how long do you think that will take me?
From where it says 33, you're probably 10-ish minutes to get to 295. If you were to take 33 all the way down into the city, you're probably pushing on 30 minutes.
That's a little too far.
Okay.
Can we go a little closer?
Yeah. Let's just draw a quick little line here and see if this makes sense. Since we're just in Hanover. Ashland of interest?
Yes.
Okay. Alright, so we're gonna cut around Ashland a little bit here. And then, obviously we don't have any, this area over here is called, you have Old Church. That's gonna be a little more rural. You're not gonna be, it's gonna be kind of take a little bit longer to get into town.
I really like people, so I mean, like, I don't want to be on top of my neighbors, but like, I want to see people. He probably feels differently, but I want to like
You like
have a
people?
neighbor.
Not too much.
Alright, let's do this. Let's try to get us a little bit tighter in here, and we'll keep that one still in. Let's march up over towards Cold Harbor here, and obviously we'll just kind of finish this off. So,
I see we have a lot of blank space. What county is next to that?
which direction?
To the left.
Over here?
No, I'm sorry. In the circle where it says Glen Allen, what county is that? Is that your
Right,
county?
it is in Rico.
Oh, can we add Henrico to the list too?
Yes, the entire county or this
Just
area?
that circle. I like read.
It's not opinions.
There we go.
Sorry.
Yeah, we gotta get through some things here.
Sorry,
It's
I just,
alright.
the math part's important, you know?
It is. If we're open to Henrico, we can add that in here
Alright.
as well. Let's take the pennies back off of here and see back to the map. We do have a few Glen Allen matches, and this will definitely put you in 20 minutes to the city.
Awesome.
So that works there. All right. What else is important to you on the house?
Nothing.
Open
It's
concept.
great the way it is.
Open concept, natural light.
Yeah, open concept, natural light. Those are things that are. How about a garage?
I tried.
Okay, no, I don't need a garage.
No garage there? Alright, perfect. Well, other things is you guys okay being on 2 stories, 1 story?
Either's fine.
Okay, perfect, that's great. Alright, siding is one I like to touch on. We like to try to make this as low maintenance as possible, especially for first time home buyers. Some ones we like to try to avoid would be, kind of let me know if you are okay with any of these, but I'm gonna take these ones off. Asbestos. Take it off.
Wood.
Wood, so cedar's a type of wood here, cedar shake, we'll take that off. Clapboard and hardboard are gonna be very similar. This is kind of like compressed sawdust into a board. It needs to be maintained. We wanna take that off, alright? Hardy planks is a new version. It's all concrete fiber, so it does not rot. So that's
Okay.
gonna be okay. That's what we put in a lot of new houses these days. And then we have down here, we have wood. We will remove those. The nice part is we have none of those for,
good.
everything should be pretty low maintenance. So,
Good.
on there, let's see, heating and cooling, important to you.
I mean, central air, yeah.
Alright, so what we're gonna do for that is we're going to take off individual window units as your primary source. We're gonna remove those. Luckily, we have none of those, but those will pop up. And let's just have a quick check, see if we have any new construction. We have 2 new construction. So with new construction, just keep in mind that's usually the base price of the house. So if it's listed at $474,950, expect to spend $525.
Okay.
Okay, so keep that in mind. All right, and we'll get you good. Let me take leave both new construction and resale on there. Go to our results. We usually click through a few of these, but for the sake of time, we'll go ahead and save your search. So the new auto email up to you. We got you all in here. Houses. There we go. I can set this up for ASAP, meaning as soon as the house is to market, you're gonna email right away. Perfect. Okay. We'll get that set, get you saved, and get you on out of here. And then I will show you how our portal works here in a second. All right. This is somebody else's search, just for the sake of time, but this is what it will look like on your end. You're gonna have the map over here, and you're gonna have the properties on the left-hand side. You'll click on one of these. Up top right corner, you have the heart and the thumbs down. And I said if you wanna go through all your matches, this is what you're going to do. Go through all the houses, click kind of, yes or no, and then take a lap around. Other things on it, request a tour. This is when you're going to text me. Don't click on this, I already know where it goes to. Breakdown of monthly costs. Reach out to Abby on this. This has some presets in here. I believe it has an interest rate at 5% or something like that, which is not the case today. Abby will get you real accurate information as far as prices go. Pictures you'll be able to flip through here. MLS number is what you'll text to me if you have any interest in going to check it out and have questions on it. The write-up about the property, this is what the agent fills out. This one looks like it's got some good info. You'll have other ones that have 2 sentences and say, need some TLC or great starter or something like that. That's usually pretty good indication of the quality of it. Okay? Nothing beats driving around, but do look at this stuff. They will have some good information in there. Other types of features, you have a year built, how big your lot is. I know you mentioned you don't know how close you want to be to neighbors based off if you like people or not. So that's something good to kind of check out. Keep in mind too, if you have a smaller lot, that doesn't always necessarily mean you're going to be around people. You could have a small lot around nothing. Okay, so that's why it's always important to go out there and drive by. Property details, bedrooms, bathrooms, square footage, a lot of redundant information here. Continuing down, exterior style of house we have. This is kind of where we get a little bit more like Zillow and Trulia. You can have the dimensions of the rooms here. This agent did not fill them out. Whenever we go to list your house, since you're not going to be staying there forever, we'll make sure we have the dimensions in there for people to see. All right, heating cool information here. If it's resale, any HOA, this one has an HOA of $197 a quarter. That means that gets paid 4 times a year. So just factor that in. And Abby will need to know that as well. Okay. And then other facts, features. Let me get down to the tax information here. So the annual taxes is the number that Abby will need to have in order to kind of run the actual estimate for this exact property. Okay, so we'll do everything kind of down to the penny, give you real accurate information. Okay. And then down here, this school's got a 6. It's pretty good. 5. So do your own research on that, but this kind of gives you a little bit. If there's any open houses, feel free to go through those. We have a buyer agreement we're going to get signed here before we get you out the door on that, but just let them know that, hey, I'm working with Kevin, and then they won't harass you, bug you, and call you 50 times. Okay? Sound good? All right, do you guys have any questions on how this works? You guys should have an email already from when you just saved it, so once you activate that, you can start sending you houses.
Oh, great. Thank you,
so
Kevin.
much, Kevin.
Of course.
This was sorry I talked too much.
It's okay. Get used to it. Best of luck to you.
Thank you.
All right, and that is our conclusion of the buyer rep.